no words for this chapter except that Deku has float. Good morning, pizza people. First of all, this is probably one of the most important chapters that ever touched this series, along with everything else that has basically happened in this arc. So I don't want to waste any time and just get into explaining. So to begin off, right, the students, remember all that whole little like joint team effort they went on, like with Kirishima and with Mina and with everybody just trying to knock out Gigantomachia in order to stop his path? Well, everything that we thought worked basically didn't, and so everything that they did was just a huge waste of time and honestly a waste of chapter, and that I'm realizing that it didn't work. But then again, I'm a talking pizza with a YouTube channel, so what do I know about hero work? And so as you read this chapter, right, you're gonna see a whole scene of all of the students that were involved with that whole little trying to take him out thing. They're all basically distraught because they realize everything they did was a waste of time and that none of it will work on the GOAT that is Gigantomachia. He's OD as hell. And this is really a small part compared to everything else that happened, but just realize that all of them are just regretting their actions and realizing that they all failed as heroes basically. But let's not be too down on them, because at the end of the day, they're still just student heroes and they are still trying to get used to this whole hero things, and humans do make mistakes. And so after this, we get scenes of Gigantomachia just running through, throwing stuff. Like, he's running through the whole city. Civilians are getting hits. Heroes are getting hit. Heroes don't know what to do, bro, because they can't stop Gigantomachia. Like, bro, and I'm talking about Gigantomachia got an upgrade too, bro. Like, he has claws now, and he has, like, a little shield face protector, like he's Bumblebee or something, bro. Like, I don't know why, but drinking that little serum or whatever, the sleepy serum, made him stronger, I guess. And so, for the first time in a couple of chapters, actually, we see President Mike, who has the little doctor that was working for Shigaraki or whatever, and the doctor, he's turning up right now, bro. He's happy as hell that Gigantomachia is turning up. He's like, oh, Gigantomachia, the GOAT, look at him. He's willing to die for Shigaraki, his master. The king needs master. The king needs masters. Like, he's just praising Shigaraki and praising the fact that Gigantomachia's like undying, like, loyalness is just unstoppable at this point. And he's just extremely excited about the fact that Gigantomachia is gonna create ruin no matter where he goes and does anything in order to get to Shigaraki. And it's just a little bit of a small part, but it's still interesting to see about how loyal Gigantomachia is, and the fact that it's literally input into his DNA to love and serve Shigaraki, or all for one. And so now we finally cut back to what was happening last chapter, well, the last two chapters basically, and it's more of a face-off between Deku and Shigaraki. Like, it's a standoff and they're both staring there looking at each other. Deku is purely angry, bro. Like, the only thing he sees when he sees Shigaraki is just red, but like blood raging red. And so during this whole little standoff, you remember how Aizawa cut off his leg last chapter? Well, he's unconscious, so he's not dead. He's not bleeding out yet. So as far as we know, he's cool, he's chilling, and he's gonna be alright. And we get a little bit of a connection from what happened last chapter with Todoroki showing up, and he pulls back up to Endeavor and says, hey yo, you need to cool down and you need to chill out, because obviously Endeavor has overheated himself. That's the reason why a lot of his attacks wasn't working on Shigaraki to begin with, by the way. So that's cool, a small little moment between like Deku, I mean not Deku, but Todoroki and his father. I mean, those things are always cool to see for me, because I like seeing like a little bit more of a development in the relationship and the fact that they can like actually talk now. It's a small little thing, but I'm glad Horikoshi included it in that Todoroki did go and pull up to check on his father, Endeavor. And also, for the first time in forever, we see Bakugo just sitting there unharmed, doing nothing. Kind of surprising, bro. It's Bakugo. Why the hell would he be sitting there? But I don't know. Only Horikoshi knows. And then, like, right after we see Bakugo just sitting on the rocks being useless. Okay, I'm sorry, Bakugo fans. Please don't dislike my video. We see Deku charging straight at Shigaraki, bro. Like, Deku does not care at this point, bro. He wants this man dead and gone. And you know it's bad when even someone like Bakugo tells Deku, like, hey yo, it's not gonna work, bro. Don't charge at him. Chill out for at least 1 second. Deku seemingly ignores him, and then afterwards we have Rocklock saying, hey yo, Deku, chill. You need to get away. But obviously Deku doesn't care, bro. and he's really just trying to take out Shigaraki any way he can, even though Shigaraki is trying to like literally like take his quirk and destroy him for good. Deku says, "I don't want to," which is honestly his rawest line in the series so far. All 282 chapters past cannot compare to Deku saying he just straight up wants to smoke right now. Like, what is your MC saying? I don't want to? I don't know, but mine's is Deku the GOAT. And then right after this, right, Shigaraki begins to say something to Deku. And then right when he's saying it, all of a sudden he just rips apart, bro. Like, he literally looks like a piece of paper right there. It's kind of hilarious. He kind of deserves it, though. And then afterwards, it's just like a huge shock that he's just sitting there like, you know, basically his body is getting destroyed itself. And he thinks to himself that it's most likely a result of the fact that his body is at a 75%. And it's honestly really cool to see that these effects are finally taking place because, like, bro, he's been kind of doing above and beyond for just only having 75% of the operation complete, bro. Because we know, like, if you was to get off the doctor's table and they weren't fully done, bro, you would most likely lose a limb. And it's cool to see that those effects are finally happening to Shigaraki, who's really just been running through everybody these past couple of chapters. And then Shigaraki himself thinks of this, right? And so Deku's sitting there watching, and then he sees that Shigaraki's body starts to kind of stitch itself back together, and it's Shigaraki's super recovery quirk, which is honestly coming in clutch for him, because right now, if he didn't have that, bro, it would probably be pretty easy to one-shot Shigaraki. And Shigaraki himself is kind of surprised about his like amazing regeneration, and he really thinks like, wow, I don't know how many quirks I have right now. And considering the fact that he literally has all for one's like quirk in him, he probably has hundreds and hundreds of like mini quirks, mini subclasses of quirks that have just all been developed over time that are making him probably one of the most OP people in existence. Well, making him the most OP person in existence right now, even though he's only at 75%. And honestly, this is probably the only reason that the heroes are even standing a chance, is because the fact that he's not fully complete. And then for some reason after this, Shigaraki asks Deku like what date it is. I don't know what that has to do. I'm hoping that it's like not Nana Shimura's birthday or All Might. I don't know, somebody important to Deku's birthday right now, that he's gonna say something just crazy that's gonna like throw Deku completely off. But after this, Deku kind of just ignores him, and then all of a sudden Deku begins to think about the fact that, man, Gran Torino is still dead over there. Like, well, he's not dead, but he's basically bleeding out, and we get confirmation that he probably doesn't have much time left, and that he's kind of like fading out of life right now. It's kind of sad to see, bro, like just watching this happen, watching this go on. And then while Deku's thinking about the fact that Gran Torino really doesn't have much time left, he's thinking about the fact that he really feels like he should have mastered One for All right now, and he's just really coming down hard on himself. And it's like a really big like just downer for Deku, bro, because he realizes that maybe if he had the full use of One for All, that he probably would have been able to save everybody, and he could be keeping up with Shigaraki at 75% right now, maybe even putting up more of a fight than he has been. Like, he feels like he hasn't been able to do enough. So like I would expect after this fight that Deku just like I know Deku's been putting on at least like 100% beyond into his training to master One for All, but he might put himself through in like internal hell, bro, to make sure he has that quirk down packed by the time of his next battle with Shigaraki, because obviously he's not gonna beat him this battle. And then after this, we get a quick little flashback to Muriko and her busting over Shigaraki's container, which says 75%, which is also the title of this chapter. And then we get a little glimpse at Muriko, and she's kind of knocked out but also kind of awake at the same time, and she says something along the lines of, if you win, you live, you know. And honestly, I think that's just a really cool little scene to see from Muriko, seeing that she's still in good spirits and that she's just gonna be straight by the end, because we all want the bunny waifu to make it in the end, and that's a W for all the horny niggas out there. And so honestly, we cut back to the Shigaraki versus Deku and everybody else battle, and it ends on probably one of the biggest like cliffhangers, because we're not going to see this battle for at least 2 weeks, right? And it ends with Shigaraki trying to decay everything to the ground, and you know he tells Deku, if you touch it, it's over, bro. And it's honestly all hope seem lost, because Deku doesn't have float unlocked unless he pulls out the biggest clutch in this battle so far, right? And he unlocks float in the very last minute, the very minute that is needed. And also what he does at the same time, he uses Black Whip to grab his whole team and to make sure that everybody lives. Like, bro, this is honestly one of the coldest things I've seen, bro. Deku using both of his new quirks at the same time to clutch up in the battle against Shigaraki. Come on, bro. Deku, top 10 My Hero character. Top 1, honestly. Rocklock is shook, even Deku himself is shook, but Deku is flying now, and he has float Finally. And that's the end of the chapter. And also at the end of the chapter, we see Gran Torino, like, who's injured and kind of like bleeding out / dying. And he sees Deku, and it's almost like he sees Nana Shimura in Deku, bro. And it's honestly one of those like Naruto, when Kakashi saw like Minato on Naruto, bro. Like, it's kind of like reminiscent of that moment. And it was honestly something really sweet to see. Like, honestly, I really like that this is one of the last things that like Gran Torino's seeing before he sadly like dies. He's an old man, bro. Like, I really know that Horikoshi isn't gonna go with the route where he saves like Gran Torino at the end, because there's no point now. He's lived out his life. He's gotten to see what he needed to, and that was Gran Torino, well, Nana Shimura floating one last time in the sky, and he's gonna be joining her by the end of this battle. I feel like him and Deku are gonna exchange some last words, and that's gonna be the end of it, bro. Like, no chapter for the next 2 weeks, bro, but honestly, Horikoshi gave us some heat to end off on until next time, bro, because I'm gonna tell you, bro, these next 2 weeks are gonna be hell with no My Hero content, but I'll be sure to provide like a good amount of My Hero content in the meantime, so stick around for that, pizza people. And honestly, this whole chapter is more of a passing the torch thing, especially with him unlocking Float, and it really feels like he's gonna become more of a hero, and him coming more into those ideas that he's really gonna need to step up, especially the fact that he doesn't have 100% like at his like disposal to use and not be injured with if he decides to turn it on at any random moment. And honestly, the character development for Deku is gonna be great, bro, and honestly, I can't wait to see what's gonna happen for him in the future. Honestly, one of the best chapters. Thank you again, Horikoshi. And I'm just a talking pizza who loves anime and manga, and I have a lot more My Hero content that you guys should check out, especially if you're watching me for the first time. Like, comment, subscribe, and my name is Time Pizza people, and until next time, I will see you pizza people on the other side of the slice. We move.